One. Are you planning on racing Ironman New Zealand this year? Well, this is going to be a great video for you if so, because we are two experienced coaches are going to talk through the new 2026 six course onwards. I do have an old video on the 2000 and the old course, but this is the new, the bright shiny one. So this is what you want to watch. And how am I going to do it? And who am I going to do it with? Well, a little introduction for myself. My name is Coach Steve or Steven Moody. I am a Ironman U certified coach. And I do YouTube reviews of full distance and half distance race around the world. And I do that by reaching out to my great contact list of contacts, who I have built up over the years. Um, and this time I'm talking to a good friend of the channel because we've already done a number of great video reviews, such as Challenge Wanaka coming out, 70.2 Topo, and this the latest version of Ironman New Zealand, and that is with Coach Ray Boardman, who is a New Zealand-based coach, who knows the course inside out. And I'm going to give the microphone over to Ray to have a quick introduction of himself and tell us how he knows the course so well. Over to you, Ray.
Kia ora, Steve. Thanks for the warm welcome. I've done Ironman New Zealand 6 times over the last few years and coached people just about every year since I did my first Ironman back in 2002. So the course I've seen it change and develop over the years and its time in Taupo. It's a fantastic course. The town really get in behind the event. The whole town literally turns into an Ironman village for the week leading up to the race. So I enjoy my time in Taupo every year that I go up there. So yeah, that's a little bit about my background, both participating in the event and coaching people throughout as well.
Yeah, and as you know, New Zealanders are nuts about was it triathlon with Hayden Wild, etc., and all the rest, almost as much as rugby. But we won't talk about the rugby part. We will move straight on. If you guys would stop beating
It
us.
goes back long before Hayden Wild, Cameron Brown, Joe Lawn, Aaron Baker, John Hellemans. Yeah, there's a strong history there.
Oh no, and class athletes all alike. All right, so let's dive straight into the swim course. This is an unusual swim course, as I said. And I love this swim course because of this reason. So I'm gonna let you tell the people why this swim course is way different to any of the other reviews we do, and go into the detail about what the water quality is like, what people can expect in a day.
Yeah, well, Taupo is such an amazing lake to swim in. Crystal clear water the whole way around. But what makes this unique from most ocean events is it's one of the few with a deep water mass start still. So you start in the water and you swim in that southwesterly direction, parallel to the shore, all the way down to the first turn buoy, and then head out to into the lake a short distance, and then you turn another right turn, and then you've got the long drag all the way down to the third buoy, another right turn in towards the shore this time before the final right hand turn to parallel the shore again until the fifth turn buoy. This time it's the first and only left turn on the course, and you're heading straight into the swim exit, and then up into the lake area. But before you get even to the start line, it's important that you do a few things to get ready for the Taupo swim. Because the water is so pristine in Lake Taupo, and unfortunately there's a few invasive water quality things like what's known as didymau, it's important that you check, clean, and dry your wetsuit before even taking it for a dip in the ocean. In the ocean, in the lake. There's stands available at the race registration, so you can get that done. Make sure your wetsuit is clean and you're not transferring any of the nasties into the lake, which will irreversibly change the water quality. So
Yeah, so and
get in there
then
nice and early, get that done, and you've got practice opportunities in the week leading up to the event as well. So get in, make use of the water, and get familiar with the sighting objects in terms of where and how you're going to sight your way around the course.
yeah. No, it's a brilliant point as well, and it's key that we help the ecosystem in New Zealand as well. So again, and it's well documented in the athlete brief, but again, a good shout out there. So it will likely be wetsuit legal, but you got to do a little bit of additional hygiene with your wetsuit to make sure that you was respect the, and this is something we're very keen on throughout all of our Ironman events, and we'll talk about littering, etc., and all the rest of it. But this is a special one as well, and but this is because New Zealand and Lake Taupo is a special place. So it will be wetsuit legal. It's a simple enough swim, but again, as you said, Ray, that brilliant. This is the one place I heard that they still do mass deep water starts. And if you want that authentic Ironman experience, this is where you go. Everyone else is a seeded start where people get let into the water in waves. This is not the case. You'll all be kind of treading water, the cannon will go off, and then it's go time. Anything else
And
on
when
the
Steve says a cannon, it actually is a cannon from the Royal New Zealand Artillery Regiment, firing off one of their L119 light guns. I spent a bit of time in the army previously and was working as their physical training instructor for a few years. And it's always good to see the lads up there doing the PR side of their work and supporting local events.
Fantastic. No, it does. That sounds absolutely amazing. And again, with it being a mass swim start again, it actually makes it easier for Ironman with their cutoff time, which is the standard cutoff time for a full distance swim. As in, so you need to get from here, from the start to the finish by 2 hours and 20 minutes. Anything else you want to throw in about the swim start and the swim course, mate?
No, just when people are getting, you will get nervous on the start line. Even experienced athletes get a certain level of nervousness. Ironman is a very long day. If you lose a few seconds in the start, it's not going to ruin your day. But with the intensity, the build up of the atmosphere, the big speakers on the shore pumping music, amping everyone up, you'll have the TV helicopters hovering over the race course, getting that quality footage. The atmosphere and intensity, you're out in the water with 1,000 odd other people. It builds up and it builds up and it builds up. Your heart's going to be pounding. It's important to take a few deep breaths. When that cannon goes off, it's a little bit of a shock to the system. The adrenaline surges. So, what I recommend you do is take a few seconds. That cannon goes off, you wait. Wait a few seconds, take a few deep breaths, and then commence your swim. Might only be 5 seconds, but with everyone else swimming off in front of you, it's going to create that free water for you to swim in. So, you're not getting tangled up with everyone in the mass start. It gives you a chance to bring that heart rate, clear a little bit of that adrenaline that's been building up, and especially that gets released when the artillery cannon gets fired to start the race. So take that time, take a few seconds, catch your breath, and you'll have a lot better swim. You'll gain more time by having a relaxed swim, taking those few seconds, than you'll lose by taking those few seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, and then you'll get to our exit point, which exit onto a beach, and there's a short run up to transition, which we're going to talk about here.
Yeah, it's just under 400 meters from the lake edge, but you do go up a ramp and over a bridge over Lake Terrace. The Lake Terrace will be open for traffic, and yeah, there will be people moving around underneath that bridge as you go up and over it. Lake Terrace will get closed later on, but there might be event vehicles and that moving along Lake Terrace. So you go up and over the Lake Terrace over a temporary bridge that's assembled, and then a short run into transition. And I do recommend you jog it, you don't sprint it. It's 385 meters. It's an opportunity for you to catch your breath, start peeling your wetsuit off. You've spent a good portion of nearly an hour, people, it'll be more than an hour horizontal in the water. All of a sudden, you're standing up vertical. Take that time, let the blood get to the brain. Don't just try and sprint it, and all of a sudden, the legs have a high oxygen demand from this big sprint that you're doing. Take your time and move purposefully, but succinctly, and don't spike that heart rate too much, and you'll have a lot more successful transition leading into the bike.
Excellent. And we'll talk a little bit of actually the transition flow here. And again, it's a key to note as well is that the 70.3 and the Ironman are on the same day. So you do have, it's a slightly more complex running route because there is a 70.3 area and there's the Ironman area. So, but in terms of what we will be doing, if we're, because you're watching this video because you're doing the full, you'll be coming out. Here's that bridge that Ray spoke of. We'll come over there and we run in here to the Ironman change tent. They do use the what Ironman describes as a clean transition, as in there's a blue and a red bag system. Blue is when you transition from swim to bike. Red is when you transition from bike to run. So you'll be coming through here, um, flowing around. This is
So
either, do you want to talk us through where we'll get
yeah,
to
so
in terms of?
you grab your transition bag. The volunteers are amazing. They'll Your race number will be radioed through. They'll be there holding your bag, calling out your race number. You grab that off them into the change tent. Make sure you go into the right tent, boys. Um, just get in there, and they do have what are known as wetsuit peelers, not strippers, but wetsuit peelers, who will assist peeling your wetsuit off. Sit down, there's opportunity to get changed. You can have a relaxed transition, or you can keep the pressure on and have a quick, succinct transition, depending on style of event you're after. Once you've cleared everything out of your bag that you need, put everything back into it. The officials will look after that as you make your way out to that red box labeled Ironman. That is where all the bikes are racked. By the time you finish your swim, all the 70.3 athletes will be out of the water and they will be on their bikes. And so the entry into the 70.3 area of the transition area will be blocked off, and you will have one path to follow through to get your bag, through the change tent, and out to the bike racks before exiting at the same location the 70.3 athletes exited a few hours before you.
Excellent.
Out
Okay.
onto
Yeah.
the road, over the mountain line.
And yeah, because the
Sorry,
70.3
Steve?
start a little bit earlier than the Ironman guys, don't they? That's the timing of that.
Yes, that's
The
right.
Okay, cool. So there's no confusion of flow, but it might look a little bit confusing because of the layout. But again, as you said, simple. Follow the volunteers. Grab your blue bag, make the change, grab your bike, which you'll rack the day before, and out that bike
Yeah.
exit.
Just
Um,
just on racking your bike the day before, there's a team of volunteers the day before that will walk you through the transition area, taking you through the flow you will complete on race day, including taking you all the way to the bridge and then walking you through, show you where you'll grab your bag, through the change tent, out onto the bike racks. Take that opportunity to look and know which bike rack your bike is going to be on. Count them, know which one it is. One, two, three. I'm on the fourth one. I'm two-thirds of the way down. Even to the extent of jogging down that row of bikes and counting the number of strides it takes as you jog down. So you know roughly how many strides to count in your head so you can find your bike. There's nothing worse than A, going down the wrong row of bikes, or B, going down the right row of bikes, but going past your own bike or not far enough and looking at and getting frustrated with the pressure of finding your bike, especially when there's plenty of bikes around that all look similar in the heat of the moment.
yeah, and you don't want to be turning back on the flow of the athletes because they're all trying to go, and if you're running into it, it makes a bit of a mess. And I did note in the race event that guide that there's actually transition tours as well. The day when you register, there's transition tours where they walk you around. What a brilliant idea! And make sure you take advantage of that. And again, stuff that myself and Coach Ray talk about as well. We all have smartphones. Take a little video of it because later on you might be a little bit nervous on the when you're sitting down. You're trying to figure out all your bits and pieces where you just look through the video. Okay, yes, that's where the bridge is. That's how far it is. I'm that rack. Use it. Take advantage of the technology in your pocket. Okay. Any other top tips then for a smooth and fast transition for our nervous newbies?
No, that's about the to it. Those are all the key points. Take your time. Don't rush it. Make sure you do it correctly.
Yeah. And again, as
Slow
we
is
also say,
fast,
and also know your
fast is
ins and
slow.
outs as well. That's part of your kind of your main where you're going to swim out here, your where your bike is, where the bike exit is, and the mount line where you have to get past the bike. And there'll be volunteers shouting at you in a polite, very friendly New Zealand way that you have to pass to get your bike completely over that line before you can get on it. And again, listen to the volunteers. They're very experienced as well, and take advantage of that. Um, Anything else? Sorry, Ray, I didn't mean to cut across you there.
No, I think that pretty much covers it. Leading into the bike leg, it is a gentle climb out of transition, an opportunity to get a little bit of rhythm before getting into the swing of things properly.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. And we did mention, as I said, the it's a clean transition, and it might be that might panic a little bit people if they don't know what goes in my blue bag, what goes in my red bag, what's the white bag for, what's the orange bag or the personal needs bag. Some of it now. So there's a video in the comments below that walks you through all what those bags are and what goes into them and how the flow works. So make sure you take advantage of that. And that will help you prep. And again, even simple tips of actually taking photographs of what you put in your bags because you might panic. Did I put my sunglasses in my blue bag and my red bag? At least you know. Okay. Listen, again, thanks very much to Coach Ray for giving up his time. Give him a big thumbs up to say thank you and for these great tips that he's already given and will give more. He has that's his YouTube handle and that's my YouTube handle. Make sure you subscribe to us. There's also a fantastic opportunity at the end of the video, which will give you that Coach Ray gives you even more advice in terms of how to pace this, how to fuel this, and how to get your absolute PB time in Ironman New Zealand. Stay tuned for that, and we'll just talk through on that. But those are some quick details that, again, a quick thumbs up will show the love for Coach Ray, and make sure they check out his channel, subscribe, and we'll just keep the love and the info flowing. Okay, and now we're on to what is an absolutely
Just
epic
before
Oh
we
yeah,
jump into the bike course there, Steve, you mentioned my pacing guide will help you get a PB. Not necessarily, because Steve's done a great video on some of the fastest Ironman courses of the last year. If you've done one of those courses, Taupo, you're not going to have an exceptional race to beat one of those times. But if you pace Taupo well, you'll have a great race compared to previous times in Taupo.
that's it. I probably said
But
an
check
Ironman
out
New
Steve's
Zealand
video.
PB because yeah, this is one of the
Yes.
tougher. Not it actually doesn't have the slowest Ironman coming out, and Ironman New Zealand doesn't feature in it, but it is a challenging
No,
course. As in, again, it's
it's an honest course.
that's it. And as I talk about in some of the other videos where there's a badge of honor from certain, and there's almost like a pecking order of Ironman finisher t-shirts. Like, yes, you can get an Ironman Barcelona, but like we know that's a fast course, it's a flat track. But when someone rocks up and having an Ironman New Zealand, you sort of you're gonna go, okay, hat tip of respect to you, my friend. But yes, and it is a challenging course, and it does come down to the bike. So we'll talk a little bit on this. So you want to talk us through this 2 lap course and how it works out for everyone?
Yeah, it's rolling hills, and you can see in the topography at the base there, the bike course. You've got that initial climb straight out of the transition area. Taupo itself is an old extinct volcano, and the crater lake sits in the caldera, I think, if I use a technical volcano term. I've probably got that totally wrong. But you're climbing all the way up to the motor racing track, and then you drop down a little bit as you head out onto the old Thermal Explorer highway. And then you've got another wee climb up onto that, and then you've got a nice stretch all the way out to the turnaround. And coming back in, it's a gentle climb as you make your way up Broadlands Road, and then you've got to get up into the over the rim of the volcano, and then you're dropping down into Taupo Township again, going down to the transition area where you stick to the left, go in through the turnaround, and head back out to repeat the course a second time. Now, as you're down in that, just after the turn, you've got your, but in my head, I've always called it special needs bag because it's always been that. It's now called a personal needs bag where you can pick up some extra nutrition or some extra goodies that will help sustain you through your second lap and utilize that heading back out for that second lap on the bike course. As I touched on, it's rolling hills. It's an honest course, but they're not massive hill climbs. Time trial bike is suitable if you've got the ability to ride a disc wheel. A number of top tier people will ride disc wheels, but deep dish wheels are going to be the order of the day for most athletes.
And road surface, what can people expect? Is it smooth as silk, or as I'm expecting a bit more Irish
Always,
potting road?
every road in New Zealand is as smooth as silk. In all seriousness, expect the standard New Zealand road chip. If you're coming from overseas internationally, we do have quite a coarse road chip, and it's nowhere near as smooth as what you're going to be used to back home.
Okay. And is it like
Wide 25 mil tyres will be great, lower pressures than what you're used to as well. is my recommendation for international athletes.
And is it closed roads the entire way around, or are the junctions marshaled,
Ye-
or how does closed roads? Fantastic.
Yes, it is. There's parts of the course that are quite lonely, but you'll also see there's opportunities there with side roads where clusters of spectators will come in and cheer you along. It's yeah, a really great course for that. But if you've got friends and family supporting you that don't necessarily want to be out and about on the course, they can stay in Taupo. There's some great cafes with quality coffee, and they can time it to be back at the turnaround point to cheer you on and then also cheer you again when you come back to the transition area. The Ironman app is really great at updating people on your progress. They just need to monitor that so they know how far out you are.
Cool, excellent. And it's worth shouting out all the aid stations look like they're one every kind of 15 or so. Is that the PB? That's the penalty box. No, we don't want to end up in the penalty box. I'll take that off. There's one every kind of 15 or so kilometers. There's on the map. And make sure you know where these aid stations are and write them into your nutrition strategy. And we'll talk a little bit about aid stations in the next slide because they are absolutely key. Anything else on the bike course, mate? It does sound like it'll you need to kind of manage your energy well, work on fueling and hydration. We'll talk about that in a moment. And what sort of temperatures will be expected on race day? Is it going to be hot? Is it going to be cool? Or what can people expect?
Taupo can give you anything and everything all in one day. I would expect, because it's Taupo, to expect some rain at some point just because it can, but it doesn't always. When it does rain, when that clears off, it can be quite humid and it can turn quite warm. That usually comes in sort of late afternoon during the run. So expect a little bit of rain during the bike. That is what I'll say is traditional. The wind direction. Back when it used to be straight out Broadlands Road all the way to Reparoa, turn around, come back and repeat, it would be a tailwind one of those directions and obviously a headwind the opposite direction. That is standard. It will blow one way, giving you the advantage, and it'll continue blowing the same way when you turn and come back into it. So either way, you're going to have a headwind and tailwind during the event. Just how much that tailwind and headwind is going to be the issue. I do remember one year, 2006, I think from memory, and then 2012, although I wasn't racing in 2012, where there was a massive storm blowing. Most people were averaging sort of 55 to 70 kilometers an hour out to the turnaround,
Right.
but coming back, we're averaging about 10 kilometers an hour for the top tier athletes.
Oh, wow.
It was a massive mental challenge coming back that year. So
And it's a
the
really good
wind can
point.
blow.
Yeah, and it's a really good point in terms of even your transition bags. As I said, if the weather is unpredictable, one of the good things about having a transition bag system is you can put all you want in that blue bag, all you want in that red bag, and you only have to use what you need. So if you go in and the weather looks a bit uncertain and cloudy, you go like, I don't know if that's going to rain. Make sure you have a rain jacket in your blue bag because then you can come to transition one and you go, actually, it's starting to rain. I'm putting it on. Or it's actually the clouds are cleared. It's actually going to be a warmer day. I don't need to put it on. So again, that ties into your transition bag management. As I say to my guys, it's better to be looking at it rather than looking for it on race day. And so take advantage of that. So great tips there. Anything else we need to
That's
know
some
about?
great advice there, Steve.
What do we think about anything
And
else on
just
the bike course, mate?
Yeah, just as I sort of touched on, the weather can be a little bit wetter in the morning often. And if you look back through some of my old race photos, you can almost always determine which lap of the bike the photos were taken by the fact that I'm either wearing arm warmers or I'm not. Having the ability to put those arm warmers on if they're in your bag is a great opportunity, especially if the weather is looking like it could be average or worse than average. But if they're there and you don't need them, they can stay in there. But if they aren't there and you do need them, it's going to be playing on your mind for the next 180 kilometers.
Fantastic. Brilliant points. Okay, we'll move on then again, just in terms of keeping times of cut-offs, between your swim, your T1 and your bike time. And again, remember we've all had the same start time, so you can actually work that out. You'll have 10 hours and 30 minutes to get past, to get back into T2 and start getting ready for the run. And we'll talk a little bit about the aid stations. And again, just a quick one here. And again, it's something myself and Ray are massively important. But not becoming eco warriors, but we're very conscious that we are guests in Lake Taupo and we're guests on any sort of Ironman course. So the one of the key rules I always like to shout out really loud is in the aid stations, both for run and for bike. But yet there's a key point. At the start, you have rubbish start and rubbish end, or trash if you're American. This is the only point on the course where you can chuck your bottles, your bananas. I don't. Yes, the banana skins are organic, but they're still rubbish. Gel wrappers, etc. And if you have to obey this rule because two things happen. This allows Ironman to have all the litter in the one place, and that means they can clear it up very simply the day after, and it's as if we weren't there. And therefore, the locals and residents will be happy to have us back the year after. And if you don't, and you're seen chucking your bottle because you're so important and your race is so key to you, and you're on a PB for Ironman New Zealand, and you chuck your bottle in the middle of the highway, you'll get seen and you'll get disqualified. And it's a really dumb way of ruining your day and just being disrespectful. So please, 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 that's one of the key DF rules. Otherwise, as a standard aid station, this is what the flow looks like. You'll have, now this is around 300, 400 meters long. You have tables with volunteers with water bottles. Electrolyte will be precision hydration, by the way. Food, bananas and energy bars. And then again, repeat the electrolyte and water bottles. And for me, aid stations are high risk and high reward. High reward, let's start off with that way. You need to have built this into your nutrition strategy. And there's a video on how to do your nutrition strategy in the comments below. For an Ironman, there's no possible way you can carry all the fuel, all the water. Well, you wouldn't want to because it would make your bike too heavy for an Ironman race. You need to know where the aid stations are. We've shown on the map. Make sure you know where they are. But they're high risk as well because if you think about it, there's bikes coming in from kind of going from one side. There's people who are picking up bottles, knocking over bottles, volunteers stepping out, and there's people looking down at their bottles. Slow everything down, communicate to your fellow athletes, get your bottle secure, get your fuel secure it, and then communicate coming out. Also practice this, and therefore you just get the high reward and you minimize the high risk. Anything you want to add from a New Zealand, a Kiwi specific point of view in terms of you cycle on the left side of the road or the right side? I got confused.
Yes, left-hand side of the road in New Zealand. And so you'll find that the aid station is set up on the left-hand edge so that you can take advantage of it as you pass through it. In Taupo, each aid station is run by a different volunteer organisation who organise their own volunteers to be there and run it and facilitate it, and they often volunteer every single year. They they know the system. They've been there and worked at those aid stations before. They have a lot of fun, and if you call out politely in advance what you're after, they will do absolutely everything they can to get that product to you, whether it's water, electrolyte, or some sort of food. But out as you're coming in, they will either point you in the right direction in terms of how far down you need to go to get it, and the staff at that point in the aid station will make it easily available for you. But as with all aid stations, be prepared to stop if there's something that's mission critical for you and your race, and don't rely on the volunteers because at the end of the day, they are volunteers. A lot of them have volunteered many years in a row, but there's always some new people at each aid station. So don't forget to thank them as you pass through, especially if they've gone out of their way to get you the product that you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a recipe for a good day race day. If you pass good karma and energy to these polite people who have given up their day to allow you a race, make sure. And also, it's a really key point. If you're not used to cycling on the left-hand side of the road, you need to practice picking up a bottle with your left, especially for our American friends, etc. They had a big panic about it when they were doing the Ironman World Championships in Lake Taupo to practice, and it is as simple as just getting used to it. And it's if you're not doing it in your the kind of final build session of training, you're not setting yourself up for success. So please don't underestimate the importance of aid stations and how to work them. And there's a list of the items that they had down on the in the aid stations in 2025. And make sure check the athlete guide to make sure nothing's changed on that. But our full expectation is precision hydration is now globally the electrolyte drink for um, Ironman events. They've done away with mortal hydration in America. Right. Again, now, look, some great tips from Coach Ray, and I set the scene as well. Don't panic if you're new to Ironman racing. It does sound a little bit complex, but it's just knowing what the flow of an aid station and things you need to practice. And I talk about that, and I show demos in that video, and one of my most popular videos, how to handle an Ironman aid station. Check it out, practice it. Make sure you work out your nutrition strategy, you know when the aid stations are, and you will be golden. Right, we have done our bike and we're now coming back into our same transition. This time it is the red bag we will be using because we're transitioning from bike to run. And I will let Ray talk us through the transition flow for the run portion.
Yeah, so as with the halfway point in the ride, you go down and go around the bike turn before coming back along to turn into the transition area. You go past the 70 point, or you dismount and you move past the 70.3 area. In past, they've had volunteers that will take your bike and they will go rack it as you make your way to the change tent. You'll grab your bag and move into that change tent, get changed with what you need, and then head out onto the run course, similar to or reverse direction to where you came in from the swim. Instead of going up over the bridge, you turn a right and head along Lake Terrace, heading towards the finish line, literally.
Excellent. And in terms of your top tips for transition two, which is obviously a little bit more simple in terms of we're not getting wetsuit out of the way. Now we are, and again, fantastic VIP service that you got bike catchers and wetsuit peelers. Um, what's your top tip for having a good transition two? We've already got the guys to recce this part of the course, so they know their ins and outs. What for you, for your athletes when you're getting
Uh,
ready for this race? What's the top tip?
Same as T1. Keep calm, stay relaxed, and just smooth. Smooth as fast. Take your time. Make sure you get everything you need, everything you want as you make your way into the change tent. Lay everything in your bag out. Once again, the volunteers in there will help you. In one of the videos, Steve, we talked about having a list you can give a volunteer that comes to help you and say, this is what I need and the order I need it. And they will help you do that because that's just the way they operate in Taupo. Um, yeah, grab some food. There's usually a bit of an aid station there with some options to grab as you come out of the tent and start moving into the run. The more you walk, the more you walk. So if you start getting into that run nice and early, even if it's a light jog, it'll start transitioning the blood from the cycling muscles into the running muscles and get you into the swing of things for the running sooner rather than later.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, as we've discussed in the past, we have we talk in my squad as like the nothing good happens in transition two, as in don't. Once you've got your runners on, start moving, because otherwise you'll start fueling the sense of dread. They've got a marathon to run, but this is where your long runs over the weekends and your brick runs will come into themselves. Just get that blood flowing. So we get our guys to have the once you get your runners on and I'm a big fan of dry socks in T2. Again, avoids blisters. The We agree that you have your gel wrapped and your sunnies in your baseball cap, whatever you're going to wear. So you've got the shoes on and you can start walking with that. And you can put the baseball cap on, you can take a gel, you can put some glass on, adjust your race number, but just start moving towards the run exit. Because you 100% rightly pointed out, every step you take is a step closer to the finish line. Get in, get out. Don't think about it. Don't talk to people in transition to. Talk to them on the run. Just because you're moving, you're improving your finish time. That's what we're looking for. Anything else from a
Yeah.
T2 point of view, mate?
Yeah, the more time you spend sitting down, the more time you spend sitting down. There was one year, not it was a full Ironman distance event, but it wasn't in Taupo. I had a really bad ride. I sat down in transition area and I moped. I was going to pull out. I would have pulled out if it wasn't for my friend Jack turning up at transition area and going, "What are you doing here, Ray? You should be 2 hours ahead of me." And he was the one that gave me the hurry up and literally dragged me out onto the run course. And if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have left that tent and continued with the event. So don't sit down any longer than you need. You'll dwell on things that you don't need to dwell on. Once the bike's behind you, it's behind you. Move forward on the run and run as many steps as you can. The
Yeah.
more you walk, the more you walk, and the longer that day becomes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to get out onto this epic run course, which I'll let you talk us through now. How many laps is this? Is it it's a 4 lap course or I'm
Full
trying.
lap run course. Yep. So
Fantastic.
you leave the transition area, um, and then, like I said, turn right onto Lake Terrace, and you head towards the finish line. You turn right and head down the main street or the main CBD street in Taupo and go around the first of the major turnarounds. You don't get all the way to the finishing chute, but all the way down there. Another right hand to another wee dog leg, and then you run all the way along Lake Terrace with great views out over Lake Taupo, all the way south to the mountains. It's a fantastic view, sticking to the pathway along the lake edge, all the way down to the far end for the turnarounds, and then you're coming back up, making your way back past the transition area and into your second, third, or fourth lap.
Cool. And the road surface, is it all concrete, asphalt, tarmac? What are we running on?
Yeah, it's all hard packed for the small sections where it's not paved, whether it's paved with pavers or asphalt or a concrete footpath. There's a few different hard surfaces you'll run on. Um, so yeah, no, it's certainly not trail shoes or anything like that you need. It's really good running surfaces. It's relatively flat despite the undulations that appear in the topography. The ups and downs are all minor. The worst one is in the lead up to the fifth aid station, coming up from the mobile petrol station. Short climb up, a short plateau, and then dropping back down before a short rise up onto the same sort of terrace that the transition area is on.
Cool. And it's key to note as well that they do operate a band lap system. So people go, what's that? As in for a lot of the Ironman to make sure you keep track of your actual laps. They give out hair bands where they hand out and you put it onto your arm as you go along. And I remember my first Ironman in Frankfurt, I had this weird thing I found called it hairband envy. You might have a blue one, but you're looking at the really faster guys, like, and they're sort of going and they've got like a green and a red one. And go like, oh man, they're like on their third lap.
Yeah.
But
Ju-
again, it helps. It's a key thing. And by the way, you will love those hairbands when you find them and when you start collecting them. Anything else on the run course, mate? As in that
The
people look
the
forward to?
key thing is, as you're running through the CBD area of Taupo, is to make sure you know where your turn is and that you're turning at the Ironman turn, which is a little bit past the 70.3 turn.
Mm.
You do need to go past that lap band pickup point so that they can count the number of laps you've done. If you don't go past that by turning at the 70.3 lap, it's a long way back to collect it. So turn at the right place or the correct place.
Cool. And again, as I said, I know people get nervous that you're running 70 or 3 in an Ironman. The volunteers are so knowledgeable and they will, if you listen to the volunteers, it's going to be much harder to make a mistake. As in, yes, we'll have race brain. Yes, you'll have been on the bike for 6, 7 hours, and your leg and brain might be a bit foggy. But listen to the volunteers. Ask the volunteers, "Is this my turnaround?" And it says, "What are you? Set full or half?" Da, da, da. And they can tell from the race numbers as well. They'll direct you. Listen to the volunteers. They want to make sure you do not mess up. So please, please take advantage of the fact you have such great volunteers there. Anything else run course
By
wise?
the by the time most of the Ironman athletes get onto the run course, pretty much all the 70.3 athletes will be off the course. So
Yeah, no
Ironman has
problem.
got the longer day that starts later, so it should be all clear, but there might still be a few stragglers if you're at the sharper end of the Ironman field.
got more glory to collect for the longer day. Quick one on the aid station as well. As I said, they're roughly every mile. Again, to key things rule apply. That my rubbish point as well. Please, 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 you adhere that rule. You can get disqualified on the run course as well. The only kind of main difference to note, as in whereas the aid stations on the bike got handed out in was it bottle cage friendly bottles. I believe they are branded ones. The Americans don't get branded ones. We get branded ones in Europe and New Zealand. These you'll be handed out, it'll be in cups where you get your water and your electrolyte. Again, precision hydration, and there's also the wonderful genius was a Coca-Cola handed out as available. Use sparingly if your legs are falling off, but it's in cups. The volunteers will get help you with the cups. Be polite, say thank you, and it'll help you on a run day. Anything else for a run specific aid station tip, Coach Ray?
Yeah, it is a bit easier to collect products as you're moving through the aid station. You are moving a little bit slower and you are a little bit closer. And you're not going to fall off your bike and injure yourself if you stuff up riding one-handed, grabbing something at speed, or you will at that. But in a run aid station, you're not at that risk of that happening. So look ahead, call out ahead to politely to the volunteers, and feel free to just reach in and grab what you need if they haven't managed to hold it out conveniently for you to grab out of their hand as you pass by.
Yeah, and the only other thing I'd add in as well, as in, and this can happen in the bike aid station, but it's more catastrophic. People can suddenly stop, right? Just be aware that runners will suddenly stop, and then you end up running into the back of them again. Just it's situationally aware. Be aware. See, keep an eye on that guy. Don't assume that they're going to just completely run through, because you don't want to run the back of them. No one wants that. And if someone's just they're a little bit fatigued and they're kind of going, hang on guys, I'm stopping here to get my banana or my salty snack. Just be conscious of that. Okay, in terms of any other final thoughts on the run course, Coach Ray?
No, just soak up the atmosphere, especially along Lake Terrace. There's usually some good crowds gather in the CBD when you're going past the pubs. It's quite popular for all the supporters of the event and athletes once they finish to go have a relaxing post-race meal or hydration at some of the local venues. You get really great support running through there.
Cool, excellent. And in terms of your final fourth lap when you turn into the finish line, you've got 17 hours in total to get the swim, T1, bike, T2, and run course nailed. And we'll show you what that finish line looks like now. And we'll go on to a little bit of the event timetable and also how Coach Ray can help you even more than he's already done. This the finish line. Beautiful,
Just
beautiful.
while you've got the finish line up there, Steve, this is a great time to remind people that they've worked to earn their finish, to soak up the atmosphere from it. As you come down that finishing chute, you can see the crowds there. Those crowds build during the day. You've got the times on the clock there for the pro men and the pro women, but the crowds build during the day as your family and friends come to support you and all the other age groupers. Those crowds really grow. That atmosphere as you run down that last 200 meters into the chute is just amazing. To the right of that photo, you run up there around the far end and then come down towards the finishing line itself. The crowds on that right hand side of the photo will be out on the road and they will move across to the finishing chute when the people that they're there to support come in. So, yeah, it's a really great chance to just pick up on that vibe, enjoy that vibe, soak it up. Because as soon as you cross that finish line, everything changes. You'll get a medal draped around your neck. You'll get a towel draped over your shoulders. You'll be whisked into medical for some checks. You'll then go through into the recovery area where there's food and drink laid on to help refuel and rehydrate, massage. And you're removed from that atmosphere almost immediately. Slow down in the finishing chute. Absorb it. Take in that, especially if it's your first Ironman. You can never replicate the feeling of finishing your first Ironman ever again. Take that time.
Yeah.
Also, if you're running shoulder to shoulder with someone, if it's imperative you beat them in the sprint, go for it. But if it's not, back off. Let them finish first. That way, they're not ruining your finishing photo, and you get a great photo as if you're the only person in the finishing chute, as if you're winning the event. All your friends at work, they're not going to know that a 15-hour finishing time at Ironman is nowhere near the win. They'll just be impressed with the 15 hours on the clock. It doesn't need to be 8:01 or 8:03 or whatever the case might be. So take the chance to get that amazing finishing photo. Have something pre-planned on what you're going to do. And run with your arms outstretched in a celebratory pose, or you're going to be head down just with a serious look on your face sprinting across the line.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. This is your reward for years, months of work. As I said, don't rush this part. Rush the rest of it. Get there as fast as you can. But then, as I said, that's, as you said, enjoy that finish line moment. All right, we will talk a little bit about the race day venue timetable. And then I'm going to hand over to Ray to give you a wonderful offer, which he's done for a couple of our other for the Challenge Wanaka video, which is coming out soon as well. But in terms of the race day time, the week timetable, you can register as early as Thursday. There's registration options on Friday as well, between 9 and 5 p.m. And as Ray mentioned before, there's actually transition tours available. They don't do this in every Ironman event, and I think it's a brilliant, brilliant innovation from the Ironman New Zealand guys. They also do it in Ironman Maryland as well. So, but that chance to take away the nerves, and it's always we something we talk about transition prep, about walking their ins and outs. They actually literally hold your hand, and it's a wonderful experience. Friday is the day you have to do your bike drop off and your bag drop off. Make sure, and also when you pick up your timing chip. Now, by the way, this is also the 2025 timetable. This might change slightly. They tend to not, but again, I always like to highlight this video is a complement to the athlete guides, a complement to the actual race briefing. It allows you to sit in a turbo and kind of think through and listen to Coach Ray's sage advice and all the rest. So always make sure you validate these dates and times and don't sort of go, well, Steve said it was definitely opening at 9 a.m. on a Thursday and it might have changed to 10 a.m. So just make sure you check these. But key things that you will, things that won't change, you will be able to register a couple of days in advance. Take advantage of getting in early, get that sorted. Don't spend too much time in the expo because two things will get melted your mind and your credit card. Just get registered, buy one or two things, and then move on because there's a lot of nervous energy. You will need to drop off your bike and the blue and red bags the day before. There's again, check that, and you'll only pick up your timing chip as you leave and as I've checked in your bike. So people panic a little bit. They register. I got my bag, got my stickers, I got my transition bags, but no chip. Ironman are clever enough for most races. What they do is you only get your timing chip as you've checked in your bag. Sorry, checked in your bike because they know this boy, this girl is definitely turning up now. Race morning transition opens at 5 a.m. and a lot of energy, a lot of people moving around because remember you'll have all the 70.3s and you can also cheer the 70.3s when they start as well. Um, which is a brilliant way of giving into the community because they will be cheering you as well as soon as they're finished or their friends will be cheering. And then race morning starts for you for an epic day in Lake Taupo at 8 a.m. Anything you want to shout out on the timetable or any hints and tips in terms of people getting there, logistics, etc.? What's your experience from this race?
Yeah, registration tends to be busy at three times of the day. 9 o'clock when it opens, lunchtime, and then again in the last hour or so before it closes as people rush to get registered. My advice is if you're in Taupo, go along sort of 9:30, quarter to 10 on the Thursday, get registered, get that all done and dusted, and move out before the crowds. Thursday tends to be a little bit more quieter around the race village compared to the Friday registration through the expo. Try and get in early, get what you need, and then, as Steve indicated, avoid it so that you don't melt your mind and melt your credit card.
Cool.
Once that's done, you can relax. You can sort things, lay out what you need in the various bags, spend your time over the next day and a bit doing it. Or if you're registering on the Friday morning, you can take your bags and then go get them um, filled up what you need to put in them and then return them in time to drop off your bike and also pick up that timing chip.
Yeah. And again, for me as well, Ray, I tell my athletes and myself personal, the last few days of an Ironman, like this is the very end at the tail end of your taper. So I always try to minimize anything that's going to stress me, as in and then minimize time on my feet. So the more you've planned out in advance, checked out, okay, agree with the family support. We're going to go to registration at 10 o'clock, everybody ready in the car. How are we getting there? Almost get a little bit militaristic on it. You sort of go because you don't want to be sort of, oh, where's this? And it's nervous energy. So everything, minimizing stress in the last few days. So you turn up with as much bottled up energy as you possibly can to that start line and you do yourself the best justice you can. Um, but yeah, brilliant points otherwise. And we'll talk a little bit about strategy and pacing. And quick one as well. There's Coach Ray's details as in like if again, I'm gonna hand him over because he's got a really cool offer. But I always like to shout out coaches who've given up their time freely to kind of talk to a course that they feel passionate about. He's a fantastic guy, very knowledgeable, huge amount of experience in him. So if you're looking for a coach for any of the kind of races that might be coming up this year, check him out. But he also has he's a very intimate knowledge, a coach of Ironman New Zealand. And here's something, a little offer he's pulled together for you as a viewers.
Yeah, so if you go to ironmannzpacing.com, you can download my Ultimate Ironman New Zealand Pacing Blueprint. This is a sort of a template and guidance to help you manage your day and plan it so that you can optimize your performance. Not necessarily PB, but hopefully PB on the Taupo course.
Yeah,
Taking your time to plan things out so you have a smooth swim, a bike ride that is balanced, setting you up for a good run. And a good run is a 32-kilometer warm up for a 10K running race, to take the words from Cameron Brown. That is a really great mindset and strategy to apply to get the best result on the day.
yeah, and this
But this
is
guide, you can download it for free and it will guide you through setting up your race plan so you can have that optimal performance.
fantastic resource, and thank you ever so much for the viewers from for this. As I said, and it's back to that point where I made about minimizing your stress. If you go in to Lake Taupo and you've downloaded this beforehand and you've practiced your numbers on the in your build phase and rest, you'll be so confident, and you know because Ironman's knowing how to execute on the day. It's not a game of making it up as you go. Coach Ray's covered all stuff in terms of fueling, kind of pacing, etc. Brilliant. So make sure you check that out. And that's the link. That will also be in the comments below, making sure it's active. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Coach Ray. And we will call it there because it's very early in the morning for me. And this is one of the joys, yet kind of the logistical juggles myself and Coach Ray always do, as in we tend to either AM, PM it. I'm in the early shift this morning, but again, I'm always delighted to talk to Coach Ray, and I will say on behalf of the viewers, behalf of myself, the channel, and all our subscribers, thank you ever so much. This is fantastic information. Any last minute words for the viewers or nervous newbies?
Particularly for the nervous newbies, go and enjoy the day. Make the most of the atmosphere, make the most of the opportunity. Take your time to breathe. Take your time to take in the atmosphere, particularly on that finish line. But also high five or thank a few volunteers out on the course. It'll help bring your energy up and make your day a lot more pleasant and enjoyable.
Yeah, and memorable as well. Like I always tell my guys, as in the weird thing, they sort of go like, the day will go surprisingly quick and go, how's a 12, 14-hour day going to go? 15-hour day is going to go quick. Trust me, because if you don't take mental snapshots, as I said, like take time when you're floating in the water, look up, there's helicopters above you, there's crowds on the beach. Take time to like the views on the bike. Don't be just staring at the bike computer. High five kids on the run, talk to people on the run and all the rest. And I literally go, for my Ironman Frankfurt, it was the best advice my coach gave me. He said, snap that in you because you want to go, I'm going to remember this particular moment, this particular, because you will remember the finish line. Yeah, that goes without saying. But I have literally a memory looking up at four or five hot air balloons above me in Ironman Frankfurt, and that I've got a brilliant image of going through one of the villages where there's old ladies out banging pots on it. I'm remembering that, and you do have to force yourself to mentally take that picture, and it's something that you can carry away from. And it's one of it's again back to your point, Ray. It's also this is you've worked very hard. Make sure you take away some memories from this, aside from blisters. All right, right. We will leave it there. Thank you very much for this. And again, we will be talking about. I'm sure there's other Ironman courses or challenge courses we've got coming up, but always a pleasure to chat to you. Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Steve. Ka kite anō.